Adapting to a new normal. That's what many in Greenfield had to do when the deadly EF4 tornado hit almost exactly a year ago. In the face of adversity, Local 5's Alex Fulton shares how the fire department is rising from the ashes.
Just outside town where traffic is light,
as soon as you come in the door, the gear will be straight in,
lies the new home of the Greenfield Volunteer Fire Department.
This truck right here is 124.
It's only temporary, a space provided by Trust Transport and TT Logistics.
Yeah, it makes response times just maybe a few seconds slower. But at this point, that's kind of what we got to just work with.
May 21st, 2024 was a first for Chief Curtis Fry.
So I got off work, told my wife, hey, we're going to get some bad weather. Don't know how bad it's going to get, but just keep your head up.
It turned out to be a powerful EF4 tornado requiring Fry and his team to immediately jump into action.
I've got some pretty good friends over in Winterset that's on the fire department. You know, in the past couple years, I've been kind of talking to them and like, hey, how did you guys prepare for it?
The first priority in the immediate aftermath was making sure everyone in town was okay.
Never in a million years do you think it's going to hit your town. So, I mean, it is very hard to prepare for.
The tornado's strong winds wiped out the left side of the fire station located near the town square.
It had major, major, major damage to it. It was structurally unsound.
Now the old station is simply a patch of dirt with grass here and there.
Honestly, I believe this is the truck that held up the whole entire steel structure side of the building.
2 fire trucks still have small scratches, remnants of what happened.
Part of that west wall actually kind of came in, and that's what all this damage is from.
A new fire station on the way serves as a bittersweet beginning for Chief Fry and his crew.
This tornado has brought the department very close together. I think it'll bring us even closer once we're back in our own fire station.
The fire department is considering a few different options from contractors to rebuild the fire station. It's expected to cost millions and construction should begin by June 1st. In Greenfield, Alex Fulton, Local 5 News.
A rare event happened this weekend at Ryman Gardens in Ames with the blooming of a corpse flower. Photojournalist Brandon Wynn takes us into the commotion.
The corpse flower is just such a unique plant. It's an endangered plant. They only bloom every 7 to 10 years. There's only about a dozen of them that bloom in the United States on an annual basis. So to have one here, most people have never seen one in their lives.
I've grown up coming to Ryman Gardens, so it was just a fun thing to see kind of pop up on their social media, and figured, you know, might as well. It doesn't happen every day.
A lot of people are drawn to the uniqueness of it, the way that it smells like a corpse or rotting fish. So there's just so many aspects that go into this plant that makes it such a huge draw for people.
We've been sharing back the Facebook posts for about 2 weeks now, waiting for it to bloom. Glad the weather was so awesome on the day that it finally got real stinky in there.
The response has been absolutely incredible, beyond our wildest imagination. It started yesterday afternoon when we announced that we were going to have extended hours. We had full lines, 25 minutes, 30 minutes long all night last night. And it's been 1.5 hour to 2 hour waits the entire day long.
Wear comfortable shoes and be ready to wait.
Yeah, I'd get here soon because I don't see the line getting any shorter.
Local 911 centers are calling out the governor to veto part of a bill they say would lead to longer emergency response times in the community and staffing cuts. The state passed the legislation last minute in what they say will help improve the state of our 911 system. Our Connor O'Neill has more.
Local 911 boards called out Governor Kim Reynolds on Monday to veto a bill lawmakers passed last minute before the legislature adjourned for the year. It would allow the Iowa Department of Homeland Security and Emergency Management to charge a fee to local 911 centers.
They already take a large percentage and they're going to take whatever they need. They did not put a cap on it. They did not put any rules on it. They can take what they feel is reasonable costs.
Currently, 911 dispatchers are funded part of the $1 surcharge on landline phone bills, but the state's proposal will impact centers like in Polk County, who would now pay a fee to route calls to the correct emergency response center.
It's almost a blank check, and so locals can't afford that. We're already under pressure. Local governments are under budgetary pressures from other actions that the state has taken in recent sessions. So, really feeling a a big squeeze based on the situation they've put us in.
Mum added other local 911 centers could see funding cuts because of this fee, which in turn may impact the response times for Iowans when making those 911 calls. The 911 board said Monday they believe there are better ways to solve this funding issue, and the state's proposal is too vague.
They should be very concerned, in my opinion, with the lack of funding to support the 911 system, as you know, things require maintenance, right? And if the funding's not there to maintain these systems, obviously things are going to start to deteriorate, which can be a huge concern when somebody does pick up that phone to call 911 looking for assistance.
The state senator who proposed this bill said it's needed to fill Homeland Security's $2.5 million shortfall to upgrade the state's 911 system. Reporting from Des Moines, Connor O'Neill, Local 5 News.
An Iowa man is on the road to recovery tonight. Kevin Heckerthorn was thrown from his tractor while working near Rathbun Lake. The injuries he sustained led to both of his legs being amputated. Local 5 photojournalist Brandon Wynn has a look at the effort to save his life.
On Tuesday of last week, May 13th, we had a incident where a man was brush cutting and fell off the tractor, and the brush cutter ran over his legs. He was calm and alert enough to get the phone out of his pocket, call 911. He called his wife.
Somehow I come off the tractor while it was still running and got my legs under a brush cutter that removed my legs.
We activated our trauma team. We have our surgeon available, our residents, our nurses, radiology comes, and then we just prepare for him to get there.
I've had a few accidents in my life, but obviously nothing like this. But if you get down, you're never going to get back up. So I want to look up. I just love those people. It gives you hope for the human race. There's so much bad that happens in the world. This is part of the good.
Tonight, Ankeny Community Schools is doing away with diversity, equity, and inclusion. The school board voted unanimously to remove DEI curriculum as well as any mention of the term in board policy. Local 5's Alex Fulton sat in on tonight's meeting. Alex, what was the most significant change made?
Well, Stephanie, I certainly heard some emotional testimony at tonight's Ankeny School Board meeting. The school district completely got rid of a policy stating curriculum may teach racial segregation, sexism, and slavery. That policy also specifies that staff and student training shouldn't promote stereotypes about demographic groups. Before the vote, the board heard a presentation from Ankeny School District Attorney Melissa Schilling. She recommended the school board make the changes given recent actions taken by the state and federal government. She pointed to 2 executive orders from President Trump ending DEI programs and initiatives. Schilling also brought up a House bill sent to Governor Reynolds restricting state entities from having DEI offices and employees. Everyone on the Ankeny School Board who spoke made it clear tonight that they value diversity and inclusion. However, some said the district needs to reassess policies to avoid losing state and federal dollars.
We don't live in a world where money grows on trees. And so we have some responsibility to be in compliance. We've had the compliance conversation around a number of issues, and that's a role that we take very seriously.
HF 856 is just one piece of a broader national and statewide effort to dismantle or discredit DEI principles. And it's being done in large part by people who either fundamentally misunderstand what diversity, equity, and inclusion is, or have chosen to distort its meaning to fit a political narrative.
My whole team.
Mentions of the district's chief diversity officer were also removed from several board policies. The policies now make mention of a position called the Executive Director of Family and Community Engagement. Under another change passed today, equity officers will be replaced by student success and engagement advocates. These positions at every school will promote student success by monitoring data on student achievement, engagement, and access. Attorney Schilling said the district isn't just renaming positions. The efforts ensure the district serves all students, no matter their race or gender.
After a year of finalizing funding and tax incentives, sour cream company Daisy Brand held a groundbreaking event for their future plant in Boone. The project will invest hundreds of millions of dollars into the community, and as our Connor O'Neill tells us, bring hundreds of jobs as well.
In so many ways, today is a heaping dollop of good news, and we can all be very, very excited about that.
Excitement buzzed through the air after a quick groundbreaking in Boone Tuesday to celebrate the start of Daisy Brand's new manufacturing plant. Daisy Brand, known for its sour cream and cottage cheese products, plans to bring 255 jobs to the area and called the Boone plant its most ambitious project yet to date. Over $1 billion will be invested into this project and into the Boone community.
It means hundreds of new jobs. It means an expanded tax base. It means new momentum for local businesses, schools, and family farms.
Boone County's unemployment rate currently sits at 2.7%, nearly 1.5 percentage points lower than the national average. Local leaders believe that rate will stay low as the city prepares for construction to begin soon on Daisy's massive project.
We will need capacity for construction workers to stay in hotels. We will need restaurants to serve those construction workers and their families and people that come to work here and then come and set up other businesses to serve the people that come to work at Daisy.
The plant will create over 100 jobs at the start and an additional near 150 jobs as demand increases at the plant.
It benefits small businesses, restaurants, schools, churches, the community, civic organizations, you name it. This is what makes us thrive.
Daisy Brand's Boone facility is anticipated to open in the fall of 2028. Reporting from Boone County, Connor O'Neill, Local 5 News.
A Des Moines family is out over $900 for food this month after their SNAP benefits were stolen. And the money won't be returned to the family's EBT card. That's because Congress didn't authorize stolen SNAP benefits to be reimbursed after December 20th, 2024. As Local 5's Alex Fulton shares, this situation is actually part of a larger trend.
That's exactly right, Stephanie. The Iowa Department of Health and Human Services says what happened to this Des Moines family isn't an isolated incident. A spokesperson told me HHS has received, quote, several reports of this recently.
They made one purchase in Des Moines, and then the rest of these are like Broadway, New York, Philadelphia.
Allison Homan with Des Moines Refugee Support helped sort out the family from Congo's situation.
This is a single mom who has disabilities and can't work, and then her 5 kids.
Last Friday, the family was buying groceries when they learned their EBT card was out of SNAP benefit funds.
You know, it was like, okay, like we're gonna go do our weekly grocery shopping. Oh, there's no money in here. We can't do our weekly grocery shopping.
That's when they contacted Homan, who immediately called Iowa Health and Human Services to make a report.
I said, hey, like, this is obviously fraud because these funds are being, were spent on the East Coast and they weren't in the East Coast. Skimming is the word that she said to me.
The family will have to wait until June 5th to get more money. Before their funds were stolen, the family only had the chance to spend roughly $20.
It just feels like it's just harder and harder and harder to be poor in America, is that everything is working against them.
The family of 6 has since ordered a new EBT card and plans to lock it whenever they're not using it, per advice from Iowa HHS.
The kids especially are just incredibly resilient, like more so than I've seen in just about any other children. So that's kind of what keeps us going.
While we all know about the people on the front lines of the storms, we often forget about those behind the scenes, tracking the storms and issuing those warnings. I spoke with the National Weather Service of Des Moines to hear more about May 21st, 2024 from their perspective. In a small building on Beaver Avenue sits a mighty team of 23. Assessing the environment and honing their craft,
that it's on the ground
all to be prepared for the moments you never forget.
At the end of the day, we're all in this line of work because we want to save lives.
And May 21st, 2024 is one of those days cemented into their careers.
It's the largest tornado, the most impactful tornado that I've ever been part of.
The day started in the morning for the National Weather Service, with severe storms and flooding moving through the metro. But all eyes were on the afternoon.
This was a very well-expected event. The outlooks that the Storm Prediction Center had and our team was looking at for days in advance really highlighted the potential that day. And it's those days leading in and preceding when you can precondition folks that this day is going to be especially dangerous potentially.
The first tornado report came in around 1:30 in the afternoon, moving at nearly 1 mile per minute.
you hope that you're not seeing what you're seeing on radar at the end of the day, and you see everything evolved. And as you can imagine, it's a hectic environment up here where the best I could describe it is like a nerve hub of information.
And once the first signs of debris on the radar showed,
So we knew at that time that it was living up to the potential that Mother Nature had advertised for the days preceding.
touching down just before 3 in the afternoon.
Here it shifted to the left at the...
And traveling 44 miles, the EF4 tornado with winds peaking at 185 miles per hour, leaving thousands wondering how.
It's not an average storm. And as it moved into town, it was largely rain-wrapped and invisible. So folks that may have gone through hundreds of warnings over their years and haven't been impacted, if you don't take shelter in those moments to keep yourself and your families safe, seconds matter.
And it's a moment in time that changes lives forever.
That storm in particular emphasizes that every warning needs to be taken serious and folks shouldn't hesitate to act.
Freight train sound, and I would say 10 to 15 seconds. Pretty scary. And I just stayed up against the wall down there.
1 year ago today, an EF4 tornado tore through Greenfield. You just heard from Jane Woodside, whose house was destroyed. May 21st, 2024 is a day many remember. The tornado killed 4 people in Greenfield and another just outside of Corning. It injured 35 people and caused more than $35 million in property damage. In Greenfield, a memorial is now in place at the corner of Southwest 2nd Street and Southwest Oak Street. It's a marker to remember the victims, the first responders, and all the volunteers that stepped in to help. A range of emotions was felt in Greenfield today as the community gathered in the town square, churches, and the gathering center to come together and reflect on the lives lost and the future ahead. Our very own Larissa Leone has more on some of the moments.
It's a bittersweet day here in Greenfield, but the community is making the most of it, gathering today for a lot of different services, prayer services, as well as just coming together to have dinner together. We talked to a couple of community members about what this day means to them.
365 days after a deadly tornado, residents in Greenfield packed the gathering center to pray.
Help us bear our sorrow of loss without bitterness, to look forward slowly, one day at a time.
And reflect on the moments that brought them here.
And I've heard so many stories of people in the path of the storm that were protected from the storm and tornado. I believe it was God.
While also taking time to remember those whose lives were taken by the EF4 tornado.
I would be remiss if I didn't also mention those that lost their lives that day, but I pray for their families and friends for peace and healing of the grief.
Thomas Wiggins is among those in need of a prayer as he mourns the loss of his grandparents, Pam and Dean Wiggins.
Really hard. Losing your grandparents in the way that we did, there's no closure to it.
Wiggins chose to volunteer around the city today, a lesson he learned from his late grandmother, Pam.
She volunteered for everything. You can ask anyone in this town, they'll tell you a story of something she's done or how she's impacted someone, and we just wanted to make that little bit of effort today.
Later on in the evening, one by one, residents filled their cups, plates, and hearts while sharing a meal, as they grieve the past and look forward to the future.
It's a wonderful area. We have a lot to offer. People just need to come take a look.
And even though it's been a very difficult year for the residents here in Greenfield, they tell me they're committed to making lemonade out of lemons. In Greenfield, Larissa Leone, Local 5 News.
We continue our coverage of a fatal fire on the south side of Des Moines we first told you about on Local 5 News at midday. 3 people died and 1 person is in the hospital. Our Connor O'Neill joins us now with some new information.
Well, Stephanie, Des Moines police told me all 3 people who died were part of a big family. 2 of them were adults and the other was a toddler. It's a really tragic story that all started early this morning. Shortly after 3 o'clock Wednesday morning, multiple neighbors called 911 to report this fire on the south side of Des Moines.
As soon as I got in the garage, you could definitely, the heavy smoke smell.
Neighbors told us they saw the fire in the back of the house and watched it grow quickly. Des Moines Fire and Police Departments said several people were able to evacuate the home. But 3 people died, 2 adults and a toddler, and were all a part of the same family. One person was taken to the hospital and is in stable condition.
All the evidence in the investigation indicates that this was not set on purpose. It doesn't look like there's a criminal act. It looks like it's just going to be a horrible tragedy for this family.
Prezik said there could have been up to 10 people inside the home when the fire started. They're still working to determine what started the fire, how quickly it spread, and whether the fire alarms inside the home worked.
Obviously, you're right next to it, and you see them every day, you know, whether you wave hi or you just know they're in and out, and you don't know which one's passed away, but you know, it affects you.
Dan Clayman has lived on the corner for 20 years and next to the family who lost their home for about 3 years, he said. And during his time living here, he said he can't remember something like this happening.
No. Oh, no. This first house, even a minor fire, I don't think we've had any.
Police also told me investigators are focusing on the back area of the house where the fire may have started to determine the cause.
One Urbandale woman is seen as a hero tonight after jumping into action to save a family from a fire. It all happened before first responders even got to the scene. Local 5's Alex Fulton shares how this hero came to the rescue.
Well, Stephanie, Katie Beeson doesn't have any experience as a first responder. She just has a good heart and is willing to step in and avert tragedy. It's hard to tell from the front, but the back of this Merle Hay neighborhood home is burnt down.
The flames got big on the back side of the house. You don't realize it until you get close.
Wednesday morning around 5, Katie Beeson and her daughter were driving by when they noticed flames and heavy smoke.
I ran up and it didn't look like there was anybody awake or any movement inside of the house or lights on.
All of the doors were locked and Katie couldn't see anyone inside. She started banging on any and every window in sight, trying to save complete strangers.
When I was pounding on that window, I could see through the curtains and I could see an orange glow and the flickering and everything.
Eventually, another man passing by joined Katie in working to get the family out of their burning home.
The other guy ran up and he started pounding on the front door again. So I ran to the next window over. I don't know if it was a bedroom or not, and I started pounding on that and yelling fire.
After about a minute or two, she finally saw some sign of life.
The woman came to the door and she said that they were okay and everybody was getting out.
Oh my God. I think somebody's calling 911.
The whole time, Katie's 9-year-old daughter, Marley Wheeler, was watching her mom from their car.
I would hope that anybody else out there would do the same thing for their neighbor or somebody that they see, just to make sure that they're okay.
It's a moment that makes Marley proud to call Katie her mom.
I think she should be a hero and that she should be awarded.
What comes next for Medicaid and the impact of any cuts is certainly a concern for some. Roughly 1 in 5 Americans rely on Medicaid for health insurance and long-term care. And our Connor O'Neill spoke with an Iowa family who relies heavily on Medicaid.
Yeah, they do rely heavily on it, Stephanie. I spoke with an Altoona host home provider who assists 2 Iowans with intellectual individuals. They told me they were disappointed to learn all of Iowa's congressional representatives voted to make cuts to the program. Robin Nagu stays busy inside her Altoona home, serving as a host home provider and provides support to Deanne Lou Bills and another client who rely on a Medicaid waiver for intellectual disabilities and receive all of their funding and resources from that waiver.
Fear that what's going to happen. Are they going to get everything that they need? Are they going to be able to get all the services that they have, their medications?
With the House of Representatives passing a bill this morning that would cut over $600 billion from the Medicaid program, people like Agu and Bills were left shocked and disappointed.
I would like Medicaid to stay here for everybody in wheelchairs.
Agu drives Bills to appointments and provides whatever care she needs. She added that rural hospitals may be affected and individuals with intellectual disabilities may not be able to get care near their homes.
If cuts are made, they don't get to participate in just regular community stuff the same way that everybody else does, because they do need extra help and extra supports to participate.
Agu said private insurance does not cover some of the things that Medicaid covers, and this issue will impact millions of families.
People, I think, need to understand that it's your neighbors, it's the elderly, it's the most vulnerable people, children, elderly, the disabled, that are going to be the most effective, and we need to take care of them.
A federal waiver to limit purchases under SNAP in Iowa now has federal approval. Governor Kim Reynolds submitted that waiver to the USDA in an effort to limit SNAP to healthy foods. The waiver allows Iowa to limit available products to those that are non-taxable under Iowa law. That list includes items like bread, coffee, eggs, fish, meat, fruit, and vegetables. Iowans won't be able to use their SNAP benefits on a list of other items. Those include some candy, soda, lemonade, and drinks with less than 50% fruit or vegetable juice. In a statement, Governor Reynolds said Iowa needs a change to, quote, promote healthy eating and protect future generations from disease, and to ensure SNAP fulfills its core function. The Iowa Hunger Coalition has spoken out against this move. It released a statement after Reynolds requested the waiver. The organization's board chair said in part, quote, these restrictions will do nothing to lower the cost of healthy food for Iowans facing hunger and food insecurity. About 270,000 people in Iowa are enrolled in the SNAP program. The waiver to limit eligible purchases will take effect January 1st.
A family-owned jewelry repair store was reportedly burglarized last Wednesday.
Yeah, Joyeria AMC is here in Des Moines, and Local 5's Larissa Leone is reporting on what the family is telling us happened.
Up there, it's no longer visible, but they created a hole around this area of the roof.
A large hole in the roof of the Joyeria AMC appears to be the entrance the thieves took to break inside the family-owned jewelry repair shop.
The police say they might have dropped down here exactly onto the ADT panel.
Jose Melo Garcia says after the unknown culprits smashed all their security panels, there was no way for his father Armando to be notified of the intruders.
They were for about an hour drilling, stealing. We didn't get any notification basically that happened. And they stole basically everything we had.
It's not just the physical items that were taken. For owner Armando Melo Cruz, it's his life's work.
Well, all my life, because I have dedicated myself to that all my life, from my 13 years until my 50s. Well, it's what I have done. What I have done here is what I have achieved in my life, and well, it's my job to do what I have dedicated myself always. I design jewelry.
Now all that is left is empty safes and the mess they left behind.
Another safe right there. This is all dried up now, but it used to be covered all in oil.
With around $200,000 worth of inventory gone.
It wasn't all his. It's like, because we do repairs here as well, so it's other people's gold here as well that got taken.
Bringing on a lot of tough conversations Armando has had to have with his clients as he pleads for patience.
Little by little, I will be paying them as I can pay them. I pay them because there is no other way.
Larissa Leone, Local 5 News.
As we head into the holiday weekend, millions of people are leaving town and hitting the skies. Local 5's Megan McPherson scoped out the lines and checked in with travelers at Des Moines International during the morning rush.
With bags packed and holiday plans set.
Summer is going to start and we have to work, so I was like just a fresher before summer starts.
One major destination appeared to be a popular one among Iowans we spoke with Friday.
I am headed to Washington, D.C. and then Buffalo, New York.
Where are you traveling to?
New York.
Yes. Tell me where you're going.
New York.
For the unofficial summer kickoff, Memorial Day. These travelers among the 20,000 expected to fly out of DSM over the long weekend. An 11% increase from last year.
There is definitely an uptick in travel.
That's why I came 2 hours early before my flight. Like in case I have a line, I can still make it to my flight, yeah.
That's good advice for travelers during this busy period. Arrive at least 90 minutes before your flight and be prepared for lines at check-in and security during peak hours.
You just got to plan. That's on us. We just know it's going to be busier, so you've got to be here a little earlier. You've got to expect the lines.
Nationwide, a similar story. The TSA expects to screen at least 18 million people between now and Wednesday. So don't forget to bring your real ID or other form of identification if you want a smooth experience at the checkpoint.
And you may have heard that the airport announced a couple of new direct flight routes in the last couple of weeks, with more expected in the coming months. It's now up to 34. That's the highest number of direct flight options that the airport has ever offered. At the Des Moines International Airport, Megan McPherson, Local 5 News.